Open the doors if you care for humanity. Open the doors at the people of society.
Good morning and welcome to Sunday Review, where we make sense of the news. It's a news review show. I'm Yaya Marin Coleman. Co-host Bill Linda is back. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Yaya. Good morning, Belize.
And we have via Skype, since at the Skype now, I know he wants Skype at the show itself.
Yeah.
Will Mejia, founder of Belize Territorial Volunteers. Good morning, Will, via Skype.
Morning, Belize. Morning, Yaya. Morning, Bill.
So, I get my veranda this morning, and they eat papaya. That boy just come off of the tree. So, if you see all the greenery behind him, he lives in Toledo District. Where village near, Will?
Cattle Landing.
Cattle Landing. And then at Cattle Landing, the show itself. This is where we make sense of the news. It's a news review show. We have a Facebook page, Crime Sunday Review. Go to that page and like our Facebook page. We get our news from various sources. Crime Radio, Crime TV, the Amandala, the Belize Times, the Reporter, the Guardian, Love FM, News 5, Channel 7, PGTV, Breaking Belize News, and yes, from street sources as well. And so we invite you for the next hour and a half to stay with us as today's focus is definitely the Belize-Guatemala conversation. And taking excerpt from the editorial from the Amandala dated April 17th, page 5. And I'll go to page 6. The second to the last paragraph reads, the Belizean economy is in a frightening tailspin at the base of the socio-economic pyramid. Independent voters have been paying attention to Guatemalan aggression since February of last year, and we've seen the new Briceño-led PUP bring in Dr. Assad Schuman to strengthen the Belize team in talks with the Guatemalans. We believe we see some benefits of Schuman's presence already, but for the time being, the economy remains important, though surely less dramatic than Guatemalan aggression. Every day, the state of the economy affects how Belizean people eat, dress, sleep, educate their children, and attend to their health care. It is vital that the opposition provide the Belizean people with some kind of option, some kind of vision, some kind of hope. Well, before we got on the air, Bill and I were talking. So my question is, let me ask Bill, since Bill is officially a part of the national executive for the PUP, should I say congratulations, Bill?
But nobody have told me anything, you know. I was out of the country. I read it, and I was told on the phone by the Honorable Cordial Hyde that we put your on. I said, okay, boss. That's then thing no matter to me, you know.
So now you know.
So Bill, you are part of the UDP system right now.
No matter one way or the other.
So I said to Bill, I said, Bill, well, you know, we may have to change co-hosts. How can we have someone on the national executive and also as the co-host of Sunday Review? Bill said, okay then, fine. So this may very well be Bill's last show co-hosting. But I said all that to say, Bill, the question is, at whose invitation is Dr. Assad Schuman in Belize on he's representing the People's United Party when it comes
to that, you know. He not represent me.
Bill.
I did tell you he not represent
okay,
me.
he may not be representing you as Belinda, a Belizean citizen. But does he represent the People's United Party in these conversations? Do you know?
I don't know.
You're saying you don't know. Well, what is your understanding?
My understanding that he was brought here, well, he was brought here definitely by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because, you know, when he was in Benke the other day addressing the teachers, I mean, he was surrounded by Ministry of Foreign Affairs people. He riding a foreign affairs vehicle. So I don't think that they just feel like, well, you know, letting the man the vehicle just like that. So of course I don't think that he is brought here by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
I put it fair through the grapevine where I hear.
We can hear what the grapevine, Sir Bill.
That it is the people and government of Belize who is paying Assad Schuman. PUP not pay he. He officially represents the
government of Belize, yeah.
But he work for the government.
I did not understand. Maybe our news team needs to investigate that.
That's right. Find out how much he get paid.
For sure. And if it is true,
how much?
then it's our tax-paying money that we're paying him. And that
Please,
would be
man.
something we'd like to know.
Oh, careful.
So Bill come back and start thing already. You don't know how Bill go.
Yeah. Bill,
I know I last long for the executive, you know. Because they will soon get rid of them because they don't tell them.
So if they really get rid of you on the executive, you could always come back and co-host.
Don't worry about that. Okay, I will still got my mouth. Nobody has shut me up. I, the Swapitilit grandson, I am not a sheep. I am a shepherd. They will never make me into a sheep. No way.
Will.
Yeah,
We know that two will there, none other than a sheep. So, as the founder of Belize Territorial Volunteers, and I know at the top of the hour I also wanted to share that BTV released a press release this past week with its intention of encouraging Belizeans to join BTV on its expedition to the Sarstoon River on April 30th to commemorate the 157th year anniversary of the signing of the 1859 treaty. Please share some more about that position that BTV has taken.
Well, yes, I believe that the 1859 treaty and the 30th of April, in my mind, should be something that every Belizean should have to know. And when you ask the majority of people in school, they have no idea how significant or what 30th of April actually means. They have no idea it's been 157 years since our borders were established. So this is one way of educating the people, the Belizean people, the ones who don't even live here, that yes, Belize have had its borders established since the 30th of April 1859, and next week, Saturday, it will be 157 years since. So I think it's important that we highlight that point and have Belizeans know that's where our borders are. And we are going to the Sarstoon, and again I appeal to the people who are going. We are going by boat. We're using Barranco as a staging area, and as you know, boat is very delicate, so we need to know the amount of names and people, and it's filling up fast. We have a lot of names already, and we cannot afford to overload the boats. We will be going to the banks to the Sarstoon River, and we will be doing our thing here. We're going peacefully, right? I could tell you that it's a peaceful movement. No guns will be coming along. In fact, we're doing a peace declaration before the trip, right? I will send out a peace declaration this week to the media. So it's going to be something that's totally peaceful. It's going to be different now, because when we went to the Sarstoon before, there was no BDF there. Now the BDF are stationed there. So there's no way in which the BDF can say that they are not there. They are stationed at the mouth of the Sarstoon right now, and that is exactly where we are going.
Have you sent?
Safe. We'll have the BDF will be there.
Have you sent a message or any written documentation to the Ministry of National Security to let them know that it is the intention of the BTV to take a large group of people to the Sarstoon River on that particular date? Have you done it for past expeditions?
I've done it for past expeditions. I've not heard back anything from them, but I've informed them via the media. So
can you share some information with Belizeans, so if they're interested, what it is that they may do, and a deadline for them to pay if they'd like to be a part of this expedition?
They could contact me via Facebook or through my phone, which is 610-0978, or text, or they could contact you, I know, in Belize City, facilitating a trip that will be coming down, going towards Barranco. So people in Belize City should contact Yaya for further details. And by the 26th, right? After the 26th, we will not be taking any more names. Who is on the list? If it's just me, Yaya, and Bill on the list on the 26th, that's the three of us that's going. But right now, we have more than that on the list. Who is on the list? Those are the ones that's going to go on the 26th. The trip is the 30th. By the 26th, we stop taking names. Okay? Because we have to make sure we have the logistics in place.
The 30th is a Saturday, and for Belize City, you may contact me. My number is 671-8050. There are 44 seats on the bus. We haven't confirmed what time we're leaving on that Saturday morning, but the bus will leave from Belize City to Barranco. And then we board a boat from Barranco to Sarstoon River, come back on the boat, get back on the bus to Belize City. The total cost is $60 per person. It doesn't matter what age your child may be. If the child takes a seat, it's $60 per person. My number is 671-8050. And Will, I believe you're also open if there are credible grassroots organizers in other districts who would like to take the responsibility to organize in your district to ensure that a bus leaves from your district to go with BTV to Sarstoon River to acknowledge, recognize the 1859 treaty, border treaty. You're encouraged to do so. Will, of course, safety will be a concern based on the past BTV expeditions. How can you alleviate the fear that some people may have who would genuinely like to accompany BTV on this expedition on April 30th?
I would say that history speaks for itself, Yaya. We have made countless amount of expeditions to all border markers, and so far, knock on wood, thank God, that so far we have had 0 injuries on those expeditions. Never ever has anyone been injured or harmed on any of our expeditions, and we've done a lot of expeditions. So contrary to the fear that people would try to put into people's mind, we have done this many times before, and it has always been 100% safe. Nobody has ever been hurt on any of our expeditions. So I think our record speaks for itself. Safety is a major concern for us. We ask anybody who have weapons to leave it behind. We don't want any weapons on the trip. Absolutely 0 weapons on the trip.
And boats will not be overloaded. People will have their life vests on.
Yeah, boats will not be overloaded. And I had to correct some people recently. When the trip to the Sarstoon, when the Guatemalans kidnapped the Belizeans, one of their claims was that the boat was overloaded. The boat was not overloaded. So they are using that as a way to scare people. But the boat was licensed for more than the capacity it had. It had 37 people on board, and the boat was licensed for 45. So the boat was never overloaded.
Bill, why do you agree with BTV taking this expedition at this particular time when we're in the middle of discussions, both countries, to determine how we will manage the border that we share near the Sarstoon River? Do you think the timing is a good timing for BTV to take this expedition?
If it wasn't for BCB, we would know nothing that will last the Sarstoon, just like how we last the western border, the 1 kilometer. Because please man, make it be real. We not own nothing, we lose it, and we own people to do it away. We're traitors amongst ourselves. This is our problem. Well, Mahia is a patriot. I fully support him. I wish I was younger so I could be there. Give a lot of trouble. And
you can still join us,
I am a old man and I got something for do that weekend. My wife to come back half on stage.
Understandable. And in respect to Will, I'm sure you've noted that for most of the end of the editorials in the Mandela that you've given respect as well as Danny Conarchy, BTV and the BDF brother Lambie. You
know what we need for do, Brother Will? We need to get together, all of us, including Major Jones, who not there with this ICJ and their liars. You know, Belizeans have to understand something about liars. I come from a family of liars. I'm a married woman, whether I'm a liar, one Chinese woman, and I never know ordinary woman. The woman's father was, you see like how they put Marshallek as the liar for the People's United Party?
Right.
The woman's father was the liar for the Communist Party of China, Mao Zedong. He used to work with Mao Zedong. They're not ordinary people. They're very important people. And you know what she always said? People in Belize like my uncle, and they always vex with her. He said, no money, no law. I got one son in England right now who done the academic study where they do the practical training. And he said, the problem with Shihon, he talked too bloody much, because he made Shihon. He talked too much enough for certain things publicly. No money, no law. You notice who there with this Guatemala thing? ICJ? Liars. Ask them where the money there. If no money, no law. All of them are the same. No money, no law. Please. No lie and lead me no bloody way. Please.
Some things that I would definitely like to make clear in looking in the, and this would be true for many of the media houses. You may go to our Crime Center Review Facebook page and you'll see that I've shared from other media sources the conversation that they're having or the information they're sharing about the Belize-Guatemala conversation. But in this edition of Fridays in Mandela alone, I think we have no less than 11 articles about the Belize-Guatemala discussion. And one of them that caught my eye in particular was one by a personal observations as a Belizean citizen. Guatemala tour agencies and individuals using the Sapodilla Keys. And so when you look at what's happening is in totality, I'm asking, so we have encroachment. There's also an interview with the FCD director, Rafael Manzanaro. So you have Guatemalans encroaching from the Chiquibo area. You have them coming in from the Sapodilla area as tourists. You have the GAF in the Sarstoon River.
No GAF, they own the Sarstoon.
You have Guatemalan fishers. You have students coming in for school. You have diplomatic relations when it comes to trade. You have Guatemalans who've been given papers to be Belizean citizens. And then you have Belizeans not being formally educated about the truth. Will, based on that context, do you see the importance more so than ever for BTV to remain engaged, alert, and vigilant in the work that BTV does and understanding how dangerous this work is?
Yes, and just before we go into talking about the education, you know, the BNTU had invited Asad Schumann and I guess Elrington to speak to them, right? Now we all know that both of them are in agreement to go to the ICJ. So now I am challenging BNTU to also invite people who are not in agreement to go to the ICJ to give their side of the story. And also challenging the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to show how they have spent that money that they have received to educate the people about the Guatemalan claim, because the only people that they hire are people who are for the ICJ. So the money seems like it came for a campaign to get people to go to the ICJ, while people who are opposed to the ICJ get shut out. So again, I challenge BNTU, I challenge all the unions to not only engage the UB, people who are for the ICJ, but people who are against the ICJ, like the BTV. And also is PUDP, who is for the ICJ, and the BPP is the only political party that's not for the ICJ. When I am going to the border, I go there as a Belizean, not as a politician, not as a member of any political party, but as a Belizean, right? But I also think that it is very important that people know that the PUDP are for going to the ICJ, at least the people at the tops, because I know that Oscar Requena, who's a member of the House of Representatives, have told me that he's not in favor of going to the ICJ. Mike Espat is not in favor of going to the ICJ. Major Jones is not in favor of going to the ICJ. So when they say that the PUP is going to the ICJ, who are they really talking about? Bill is a member of the executive. Okay.
Bill, that's a fair question, or a point that Will is presenting. It would be good to poll the people who are in leadership of the People's United Party, which is the Queen's loyal opposition, and ask them and get them on record what their position is as far as going to the ICJ. We'll name some people who he's saying is not in support of going to the ICJ. Do you know anyone else in leadership?
Who in it?
Well, say the people again that you're saying you know for a fact they're not in support of going to the ICJ.
Oscar Requena have told me that he is not in favor of going to the ICJ.
Mike Espat too.
Mike Espat is not in favor. And they live here, they live on the borderline. Espat from Cayo is not in favor of going to the ICJ. Major Jones, who run as a PUP, is not in favor of going to the ICJ.
Bill is calling. Who else, Bill?
All right. From the north, Florencia Marin Jr., Florencia Marin Sr., they will not participate in nothing with no ICJ. In the middle, you got Major Lloyd Jones, you got Cordell Hyde, the Honorable Cordell Hyde. No, call their name. You got Senator Paul Thompson.
Not in support of
no way will they support no ICJ. Down south where we live, you have Mike Espat, you have the Honorable Mike Espat, the Honorable Ricania. Out west, you got Dan Silver, you have Julius Espat. I'm not sure about others, but I want to find out. My point is this, Will, we need for all come together and start going and counteract what Sede and Schumann they do. Exactly. Because they lie.
Yeah.
Then they tell people lie, and you need for what Said Musa say, follow the money. Who they pay who? That the money, not make them set you up.
From listening to what they've been saying, what are some of the things, and I'm asking each of you individually, what are some of the things that most concerns you? We're coming up to our break as well. What are some of the things that most concerns you based on what you're hearing both our foreign minister and Dr. Assad Schumann?
What do they call a doctor for what?
I don't know, he has a PhD?
For the British. He worked for the British.
So he has a PhD,
man,
the
British. Man, please, man. No, man, please don't give a man no credit. Don't give him no. Look, this man give her with border 1 kilometer. He want to give her the SARS tool here and said it. Then he said the same thing.
Okay, Bill.
No, man, encourage fool.
Bill.
No.
Let's look at this logically.
No. Listen to me.
Yes.
Listen to me carefully. Don't let Assad Schumann come here and fool you. He is married to a woman from England where he got his education. He is, look, he says he's from the left. You know what somebody said? Very intelligent person. The left and the right have the same mother. They walk the street at night. They are the same. Don't let them fool you. Please. He lives in Cuba. He has nothing to lose. Nothing. He has no roots in Belize. None. Please. He doesn't do anything because like what Julia, she hung. Make them kick me, I don't care. I have one country. I have one country.
Will, do you feel that both men are saying the same thing?
But they are.
Yes, they are.
Please.
At the end of his speech, even though he said, as that Schumann said that Guatemalans are serial killers of treaties, at the end of his talk, he still agreed that ICJ is the only option, and that's why I told him he should read Bill's part on the BRICS, you know. And also, the foreign ministry, they should come clean and say how much money do they get to go around and do this so-called education campaign, right? Because somebody just sent me a thing, so they said that they get over $200,000 just to travel, right? The Friends of Belize, they give them that. Now, it seems like everybody's conspiring against all of us who say we don't need to go to ICJ. Our borders are established, and what we need to do is defend it. I have been having meetings in the Mayan villages along the borders, and those people are willing to keep the borderline clean and clear for the whole year round, to keep it clean and clear as long as they get the government of Belize support. And I was telling people, right here in the Port Honduras Marine Reserve, the Guatemalans used to occupy that, and we, without $1 from taxpayers, we kick them out of what is now the Port Honduras Marine Reserve. They're not there anymore, right? So why can't we kick them out of the Chiquibol? Why can't we kick them out of the Colombia? I have, this is not rocket science, and we could do this thing if we have the will. But apparently, it seems like they have already conceded to giving away things to Guatemala. And we need to stop that. Belizeans need to get up and stand up, because these guys are serious about letting our country go.
Let's take our first break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the second segment of Sunday Review. We have Will Mejia, the founder of the Belize Territorial Volunteer, Skyping in with us from
Cattle Landing.
No, Forest, no.
Cattle Landing.
Right outside of PG.
Yes, indeed. I got several texts of people saying that they're looking at the show. I got a text also, like Whip had shared earlier, saying, "This is Major Suazo. I am also against going to the ICJ." But the question I had posed earlier, Will, is if as the leader of the, and how does BTV operates, Will? How are decisions made? Is it as you as the leader makes the decision, or is it upon consultation with other BTV supporters and volunteers?
Yeah, I know I consult with other people. As Yaya, as you know, I'm tagging a picture the other day when we took our expedition to the Columbia Forest Reserve. That was one of the first expeditions where we included people, encourage people to come on those expeditions. Because first it was just a tightly knit group of basically Mayans from San Jose and a few people from town, myself and a few other people from town. But when we invited you guys to come and go into the Columbia Forest with us, so you could see firsthand the incursion that was taking place, and that was some years ago. And we bounce ideas among ourselves, and then we make a decision after that. Like Orlando de la Fuente from North, call you in Belize City, and it's basically countrywide that we kind of like bounce ideas. It's not like one person waking up and making a decision. So
BTV, you as the leader, you're very aware of how dangerous each expedition becomes. The attack on BTV's credibility has been consistent. What's the way forward for BTV to ensure that it remains sustainable and can continue to make such expeditions, and its responsibility in educating Belizeans?
Well, I think
they need to work with other people like Major Jones. I will help. I will get involved, and I will ask other people like Julius Espat, Mike Espat, Kenya. Make we all go together, go educate people against this thing, because Schumann and Sedi, they go around the brainwash and lie and get away with it in the name of education. When a pure lies, they need to hear the other side, man.
Well, I'll let Will say what he has to say, and I'll come back to you, Bill, because I would want you to be more specific other than to make a general statement that is all lies. Will, what were you saying?
No, but what they were saying is true. Right? They cannot, and again, organizations or unions like the BNTU should not only ask people to talk to them who is in favor of going to ICJ, the rest of people need to get educated about this as well. Also, speaking about how we sustain ourselves, these guys are getting money from the Friends of Belize, the so-called Friends of Belize. We are depending on Belizeans who live here to buy us a gallon of gas or to finance like a boat going in there, going to the Sarsoon. It costs money to go to those places, and so far the Belizeans have been coming through, but we continue to need their support to come through. And again, people like you have people at Venice, for example. They are like them to be a part of it, because at the end of the day, their business get affected. All the things that's coming across the border, let's just use Venice as an example, right? They're paying their taxes, they're paying their GST, and it's not fair for businesses in Belize to suffer the consequences when all these things come in from Guatemala without no taxes, without anything, because we have a weak border, because we have a weak government that does not man the border. So it's not fair to Belize's businesses, and that's why even the chamber should be taking a more active role in this whole Belize territorial volunteer movement, because the businesses of Belize could get affected, the honest businesses of Belize could get affected because of this.
Respect.
So again, I am appealing to Belizeans to come, and Bill, I agree with you that we as Belizeans need to go around the country and educate the people about the other side, about the other option, because ICJ is definitely not the only option. Absolutely not the only option, and Belizeans need to know that ICJ, in my opinion, is not the way to go. We have a lot of alternatives.
In the letter to the editor that Major Lloyd Jones wrote in this Friday's edition of the Mandela, on page 16, he gave several options. He was talking in particular about the referendum, because that's another thing that we haven't had a chance to really discuss, is what it now appears the willingness of this administration, with the support of,
say the PUP, says Schumann. He is not the PUP.
Okay, so before I go off on the referendum tangent, Bill, it's important that as a part of the education process, because the education is happening, even though it may not be done in a formal way. So the Mandela is, for example, a source of for sure information with this article. You have, in fact, Zinc Fence in particular is the media house that has gained the reputation over the years for sharing information, having analytical conversations, even though it may get heated and we may not always agree, but it's definitely a space where people go for alternative information and news, with this case in particular. So there are different spaces of information. We just need to organize it, I think, efficiently. What I'm asking you, Bill, when you said that what said it and I said are saying are lies, can you quantify that? What specifically do you feel and what evidence do you have to validate that what they're saying is not true?
The basic legal argument that the government of Belize has and the lawyers have is this concept, this British concept in law of historical consolidation. This is the basis of the Belize claim, historical consolidation. I went myself, I listened to them until I decided to educate myself and read for myself, because I could read the Queen's English just like them. I read for myself, especially the case with Cameroon and Nigeria, where the court said very, very clear English. This concept has no basis in international law, and every time it comes up, they throw it out because it has no basis. So that means Belize is going to lose. Why? Look, I put it simple for the Belizean people. You have the Caribbean Court of Justice. In terms of the UN, the Caribbean Court of Justice is the Security Council. Then you have the Supreme Court of Belize. The Supreme Court is the General Assembly. Then you have the Magistrate Court. The Magistrate Court is the ICJ. Now, we have gone already to the Supreme Court of Belize, to the General Assembly, which has said Belize will get its independence with all its territory intact. Now, why, in the name of God, are we going now to a lower court and ask, boss, that we own this or not? How you mean if we own it or not? Me done down at the big one, we're going back to the small one. We don't know this. What's wrong with my head? Something knocked me. But then you see, I always remember what Shihon said, no money, no law. No money, no law. That's the key, that the money. Because who they tell you for go to the ICJ? That the lawyers, it's all about the money. Look, no man when I live here, when can tell me nothing about here, nothing. He owns nothing here, he has no roots here, he only can collect. He work for money. When my old friend Ray Lightburn used to say, Libera, somebody take a piece, find out who they pay. Said he come and say, I know I watched Channel 5, Channel 7 News Friday night.
Right.
And it was very interesting to see how the teachers and they attack, said he. But then they attack Assad. But Assad, they said the same thing what said he said.
Well, why does it sound different to some listeners?
Because the way
they're saying the same thing.
They are saying the same, but you know why? Said he dry. Assad, a lot of flares. He's a good speaker. He knows to play with your mind. He knows to make you feel good. But at the end of the day, that's the same thing. You know what he said? We get me, rile me up that we have to change the Referendum Act because the current one we Belize have is undemocratic. Now, Schumann should have been the last one to tell me anything about democracy. Please, the Referendum Act is made in such a way that any major decision, no only minority when decide for me, man. We got 150,000 voters. If 115,000, 110,000 don't go and vote, then it is no valid. Simple. You know why? You know that no 5 and 10,000 we could go bribe, make decision for me and sell me out for a few pennies more. Why you think the economy is so bad? You think that just like that it happen? It is all deliberate. You know why? Because when things get worse, you're willing to take something and sell anything so that you could live because you're a human being. It is a biological necessity that we must eat. And we are having hard economic times because they set we up. Don't make them fool you, man. They don't fool me because I don't know sheep.
Well, see, this is the relevance of this particular conversation in this segment, is that there needs to be an alternative in the education process or the information sharing other than what the government is sharing with Belizean people, and the importance of having a systematic process, the people who are sharing the information to make sure that it's available for the wider Belizean public, which often costs money. If people have to travel, people have to stay overnight, people have to eat, and so there has to be some meaningful dialogue with people in Belize who really understand and want to participate in the education of our people. In the letter to the editor, Major Lloyd disagrees with Sadi and Assad. In the Mandela, page 16, there's a paragraph that reads,
You have to say he disagrees with Sadi Assad and the PUP.
the voters list used in the 2015 general elections establishes a voter population of 198,587.
More than what we think. See?
Under the current Referendum Act, 60% of those voters would have to turn out to vote in order for the results to be valid. That is a minimum of 117,952 voters. 50% plus one at this level of turnout would be 58,976 voters voting for or against the ICJ. The troubling thing here is that 58,976 voters represent a mere 30% of all registered voters.
That's the
So
point
if
I
I'm
would make.
understanding it right, Bill, Will, and those listening, what the change would be based on the last voter list of 2015 is that as it stands, if based on the Referendum Act right now, at least 117,952 registered Belizean voters would have a say-so if we go to the ICG or not. That's as the law now stands. What is being pushed currently is for them to change that law, so instead of 117,952 registered voters making that decision, it'll be at least 58,976 persons who are, you see the difference?
That's what I'm bribe you. This is what I tell you for a long time. You think, look, who want this? Guatemala, England, America, so what they want? That were excess on weeks ago, you know. We got all kind of problem in our society. So we not got nobody for stand up for no more heads agreement. We not got nobody for stand up for no more thing again. We not got broke up or nothing again. So what we do? Then they set we up. Look, you're going to lose. The Americans are not with Belize. Please and not get that no sense. Look at so from 1830, over 100 years, they have been saying consistently, from the Cebu to the Sarstoon does not belong to Belize because the British took it illegally. This is why Guatemala is claiming it, because the Americans are saying it. They've been saying it consistently. You don't hear that from Assad, you don't hear that from Sedi, you don't hear that from none of them. Because they lie. Look, you don't have to lie by, when you omit something, you're also lying, you know. The omission is as guilty as the telling of the untruth. The omission. Tell them what the position, man. But they are not doing that, you see. Then you go wrong. You had these teachers thing that Benke. Thousands of them. Who pay for that? Who pay for bring out all them teachers? You ask well how much money it costs to bring anybody anywhere.
Wouldn't it be the BTV? Wouldn't they have paid for it?
No, man, that the government I believe, from the French I believe, the British and American.
I don't know. Will do.
Why?
It would seem to me that it would be the BTV. The
Oh yes, no.
BTV.
Where they get it from? Where they get the money
Their
from?
members paid.
Oh please, please, please
Well, what are your thoughts?
help me, help
They
me.
cover, the BSU cover Benica, but I think the government I believe cover the Elleringtons and the Schumans and cars who gone they got tax them.
Will?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So,
I
when...
decided instead that the government of Belize cover Elringtons and Schumann's and cars, while I'm pretty sure that BNTU cover the movement of the teachers.
All right.
So, yeah, we need to ask the government some very, very serious questions. You see, they know for talk strong about this and that, but when Guatemala, everybody cow down. You see the chamber? We import $259 million according to the Statistical Institute every year, and we sell 8 million. I have proposed for months, stop encourage the Guatemalan. Now, I noticed like Jones and Enrique say we should follow it even, but we don't got no economic pain, man. We don't get no pain. Because the people who they do the import, they're not the Creole where they go to Melchor or go to Barranco. That the Mennonites and they. That the big man and they do it. Please. Not make them man we sell with them. They are not Belizean. They ban you, but they go to Canada. Ask them where their money there. Ask them when they got the dual citizenship. Who you think they want to fight for? No. Oh no, better wake up. Oh no, understand where they go in this country. Oh no, they get sell out. And your own politicians and the one where they take the money. And you know what they went to? Then going, I started going back to Cuba. He not live here. He not can't tell me nothing. Don't want to hear nothing for now.
Also in the Mandela, there's an article, ICJ or else what, by Beryl Young. And this is one of the things that she says. I'll just pick up at, it may still help readers to know that a paper out of Duke University referencing the Duke Law Journal and Black's Law Dictionary points out that the most common territorial claims are argued on effective control of the territory, historical right to title, ute possidetis, in brackets, old administrative boundaries becoming international boundaries when a colony gains independence, geography, treaty law, and cultural homogeneity, same culture. Sumner's analysis indicates that though no single one of those is the decision rule, the ICJ shows a preference for treaty law, ute possidetis, and effective control in that order. The court may also decide under I don't know how to pronounce this. AEQUO.
Akisco.
Ex Akisco et bono, according to what is equitable and good, if the parties agree, like Guatemala wanted Britain to do in the 1940s. So in her article, ICJ or else what, she was referencing an editorial that was in the Reporter, and she took it piece by piece to explain that, for example, when a newspaper takes a position, the newspaper has a responsibility to share evidence and to be balanced in their reporting. And so she was very careful and painstaking in sharing the options of what can happen if you go to the ICJ. And to wrap this particular thought that I have based on what Bill just said, she was saying, what is it that Belizeans would be willing to do? She said, what if GOB refuses to go down the road? Belizeans from the rich on down, you will have to do some soul searching and step up and make some real sacrifices. Fight for your country. Stop the flow of your money into Guatemala. Don't shop in Melchor. Tour operators, airlines, bus lines, take up your shares of the sacrificial burden. Cut back. Workers' union, remember that thing called the work slowdown? You can reduce student and trade movement to a trickle, to none. Chamber of Commerce, back up such an effort. Belize needs all its people. So again, like Bill was saying, the importance of us collaborating together. That in order for this to be effective and successful, we can't just depend, for example, on the BTV. Will, your thoughts?
I put too much pressure on this man.
I am calling on all Belizeans to stand up and do something. Lots of Belizeans will not be able to go to Sarstone on the 30th of April, but they can show their solidarity by sponsoring somebody to go. I'm sure like a lot of people will not be able to go, but they could say, okay, I will buy 15 tickets on the IAS bus that's going down and cover those people to go. So every Belizean could be involved in this movement and should be, because at the end of the day, like We are the ones that's going to live here. Like Bill said, a lot of them are going back to where they come from, to Canada and Cuba and those other places. We live here. We have to stand up for Belize. And the unions, right? So far we're hearing from the BNTU, and what happened to NTUCB? And you were saying earlier, the MLA, this is at the hot spot there. We need their participation.
You made a valid point, Will. Now, I know I believe it's the MLA and the Toledo Alcalde Association, because I believe you had called them out. And in their defense, and I'm using their words, they've said that every day they defend that border. When as Mayan people, they live in those communities, that every day their daily lives is a defense of that border. And I respect and support that. I would still, and I'm sure others would too, would like to see some sit down with the BTV, some active collaboration, because the Mayan people are a great example for us for standing up for injustice, for holding governments of Belize successively accountable, and it's been a lot of years of fight and meaningful results sometimes. And so they're a good group of people to give us guidance. And so it's very important for us to be unified, and we have more in common than we have in difference. Will, have you ever in a formal way approached the Toledo Alcalde Association and the Maya Leaders Alliance for a sit down and a conversation about this particular issue?
Well, I have approached them and they said they'll get back with me, and they haven't gotten back with me yet. So hopefully that will take place. But I have approached them, and in fact you yourself there as a member of BTV, we talked about this a while ago, right? But I know that right now, when you go to Halate, and the amount of clearings that's taking place, it's not by no Maya people, it's by these big Spanish people from Guatemala City who own these lands along the border. It's not the Maya people, and there are encroachment that's taking place inside the Maya village as we speak. As we speak right now. The Maya people are not really into cattle farming like that. Who is into cattle farming? It's the ranchers from Guatemala, and you go along that border right now as we speak. They're clearing rainforests to make pastures. Do you think those pastures belong to the Maya people? They don't belong to the Maya people. They belong to those ranchers from Guatemala. So in a sense, the Maya people are actually getting pushed out of some of their lands. And this is very concerning.
One of the things that we definitely...
we have to stand up. Go on.
One of the things that we encourage, and it's a lot of responsibility, and like Bill said, it's not only on BTV, but BTV has taken a leadership role. Mm-hmm. But we all have a responsibility as Belizeans. And so one of the things that's also helpful is that you also have an independent media house, PGTV. And so to get images, to see the maps, we really need as much information as possible to disseminate to Belizeans. And the media houses are one of the most effective ways to communicate as well, Will. So it will be encouraging to see more pieces, more stories coming out of PGTV to share with media houses in Belize, so we can see what's happening on the ground. For example, what you just shared about Guatemalans encroaching on what in the past has been predominantly Mayan land, and it's not, those stories are not being told.
Yeah, and again, thanks to the zinc fence, thanks to Mandela, because we were talking about that earlier before the show started, right? If it wasn't because of Mandela, who had, you remember the Guatemalan had what we call Container Hill now, when they pushed that road into Belize and put a container on it. I was months after the OAS went and forced them to move it. If it wasn't because of the media houses, if it wasn't because of Mandela, Belizeans wouldn't know about that. So Mandela has done a great job bringing the message to the people, letting them know about the incursions that's taking place.
We also talked about the importance of working together collectively. Mm-hmm. And I want to know on a 2 cents Spanish before we close out this segment. In the past, I used to feel that we're not organized. We're going to, on our watch, we will be responsible for not putting up a good fight for Belize. But now, and I would say the turning point for me would have been maybe a couple Sundays ago when we had our sister Therese Bilal Nweke Skyping in from London, a Belizean who lives in Lagos, Nigeria, is that we may be loosely organized, but we organize. We have, for example, we have BTV, for example, in Belize. I believe there are 2 petitions right now. There's Mark Takano Stand Up in Solidarity for Belize in the United States, and there's Paul Gobert in the UK. You have, so for me, even though that's loose, we have 2 movements for sure, or 2 actions for sure. In the UK, in the United States, we have a sister on the continent of Africa. We have BTV, we have Breda in Los Angeles. And so it's for us to...
You have the Northern Territorial Volunteers.
We have the BTV in Belize. So it's for us to coordinate. And so that made me feel very hopeful. What are both of your takes on that? Because before then, I was thinking, my gosh, why can't we organize as a people? Why can't we link? But with those actions, I feel a little bit more confident. Your thoughts on that, Will?
Yeah, well, I mean, I felt very good to see the amount of teachers that came out to the border on Friday, right? I mean, it's unfortunate that they only had people who was in favor of going to the ICJ to speak with them. But the fact that they came out means that they are concerned. And I know I've spoken to a lot of teachers who is in agreement that ICJ is not the option. And I believe that it's important for us to continue to work with the teachers union so that they could educate the Belizean public, because they are the educators, and give the Belizean public 2 sides of the story. Because as it is right now, the government is just ramming it down our throats that ICJ is the only way to go. And like I said earlier, the BPP is the only political party that has made a stance that says there is an alternative. We do not need to go to the ICJ. And if you go to the BPP website, they actually have it listed. What is the alternative?
Oh, forgive me. One of the groups, and maybe that's what you said earlier, the NTV as well. The NTV has been very active, and you have individual Belizeans who may write in the newspapers. Our sister like Sandra Cowie who calls in, Dan Silva who calls in, and so there are some prominent voices and media houses that have taken a position. So I'm saying, looking at those resources, Will, I'm more hopeful than I was maybe about a month ago.
I was shocked when I sat here a couple months or so ago with Breda from Los Angeles.
Yes, Bilal Morris.
Yes. He made some statements which shocked me, that 2 are the most powerful elected representatives at the US Congress got elected because of Belizeans. And we are doing absolutely nothing about it. And I'll say this, and say it right here, that the government of Belize has no interest. You know why? Because the powers that be in Washington and London have already agreed. And they have agreed years ago. Belize is not viable as an independent territory. I don't know why we can't get that in our head. We must understand, for over 100 years, the Americans have been very, very consistent. Very consistent. That from the Sarstone to the Sibun does not belong to Belize because you took it under your colonial master, took it illegally. There is the problem of Mexico. You don't hear a Southern talk about that. You know why? Because they are misleading people. The Mexicans have consistently said, if the people of Belize wishes to remain independent, we will support them. We have a claim. The claim is dormant. But if any way Guatemala gets anything, then our claim becomes active. There will be no Belize left. None. You cannot let Guatemala get... Look, George Price gave us independence with every territory intact, not a square centimeter, not a blade of grass. It is our job to preserve that.
Even though we didn't have our defense guarantee.
You don't need no defense guarantee. Who will give you, you'll come in at my house and I will defend your house for you? Then that for me, that not for you. Where we don't get that in our head. Nobody will give you no guarantee. You want to be independent, you stand up on your 2 foot, man. You want me to come defend you? You crazy that then I know you, that me. We not even miss the point. Look, Fidel Castro was one of the main architects with the Mexicans why this country got its independence with all its territory intact, and Guatemala did not invade. You know why? Fidel said it to George Price. Look, build your defense force if you want. You know you look better than trust the British. George knew better than trust them because he keeps saying, you can't trust the background man. He not my master. How you expect your master to trust your master? The man will slave you. You won't believe him? You won't trust him? Something wrong with your mind. Or not sick. That's why people like Major Lloyd Jones and me, we know better. Me that Swappy Grand Picnic man. You don't send me no bag of wolf. Swappy making money in the British. But he know they not like her. He know they use her, but he make money. But he don't no part of them. Me like Grand Picnic, you think you want to fool me?
Well,
no, listen, make a done.
Bill, we have to go to break.
Yes, man, but quick thing. Done the thought. Yeah. Cuba said, we will come to your aid, but you will fight. We don't come fight for you. We don't fight for you, my brother. You will fight, and we will help you. And they have shown in Angola that they can beat anybody, including the Americans and the British. They will help we. But they don't come fight for we must fight for itself.
Exactly.
And if we play within Guatemala and make them liars, they set you up. One don't give way, the whole western border give way. You call it what? Adjacency zone. Yes. You can't go there and me can't go there, but the Guatemalans are there. Then do what they want there. Man, they could be real. They give away Sarstone. They lie, and if you never say a will, we wouldn't even know that we lose Sarstone. Because we don't want it. Well, 11 point this and 11 point that. Alone foolishness, man. No court can solve this problem. Before Easter, I wrote an article in the long one. Detail how to solve it. But nobody want to hear it.
Okay, when we come back, we'll hear it. Will, you were saying something and then we'll go to break.
I was saying I agree with Bill. We got to save ourselves.
Watch yourself, you only agree with Bill, Will.
Yeah.
Because that's true. No one can lie to nobody.
But right now, we should have brigades. We have my villages along. We should have brigades along the borderlines every weekend. We don't even have a brigade. Belize, you look, so many people stay home right now. Can't go to UB. We should make them join the military. 2 years of being in the military and 2 years of UB education for free. That's something that we could do. We could afford to do that. You know, instead of going to Corozal, go care people for Tacos picnic, use the money to educate the people, and let's build our brigades. Let's build the BDF. Let's build the Coast Guard. And speaking of the Coast Guard, you notice that since the Coast Guard, who are very well trained by the Americans, held their grounds at Sarstone Island, you notice that the Coast Guard has never ever returned to Sarstone Island because the government, the PUDP government, they tell them, on to stay Africa, on to what, on to train, on to military ready. All could defend we.
Well, so has the Prime Minister ever answered why he told them to back down?
He can't.
No.
And we should hold him accountable to respond to that because they have not been back since then. And it seems that it has only gotten more challenging for us in that area.
But that is why Assad is here. Assad, the answer for you.
Okay, we're going to finish with this segment. We'll be back shortly after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the final segment of Sunday Review. Yaya, Bill, and Will via Skype from Cattle Landing in the Toledo district. We were discussing during the break, and I thought it was an excellent point because we definitely want to reinforce in this last segment that the Belize Territorial Volunteers and the Northern Territorial Volunteers are making expeditions on April 30th, which is the 157th anniversary of the 1859 treaty being signed to establish the borders between Belize and Guatemala. And so, Will, I keep getting the name mixed up. Will, I would like for you to share what the NTV will be doing, and who have you invited specifically to join BTV on this expedition, going to the Sarstoon. It's the mouth of the Sarstoon River that the BTV is going, Will?
Yes.
Or up the can go to river, we have to go out to Guatemala and come off we again.
What you said, Will?
After we have invited all political parties, all unions, all churches to come along with us. And all NGOs, especially environmental NGOs, because what we are fighting for along the border is mostly protected areas, it's natural areas, and they're the ones who are getting money to manage these areas. So we are encouraging them to come so that people can know what's going on in these areas. Because the main reason we are fighting for, one of the things is we have to protect our resources. The illegal fishing that continues in the Sarstoon area, they're raping our country. The illegal logging that continues to take place inside the Sarstoon National Park. In fact, sometimes, I want to know if the big military officials are not involved with all the illegal activities taking place there, because the reason why there's no patrol going in there is because they're then, in my opinion, protecting the criminals who are extracting the resource.
Also, definitely want to acknowledge FCD's work and SETIM's work as well in this process. You've invited both those NGOs, Will?
Yeah, all NGOs, especially working in the environmental field, I've sent the letter to APAMO. They received it, so that's how I invite all the NGOs.
Excellent. Bill, you were saying before.
Mr. Mura.
What did you say, Will?
I said we've informed Mr. Mura at NTUCB.
Thanks.
Right, so, yeah.
Bill, you were saying a couple weeks ago you shared an article in the Amandala and you felt that no one was listening, and Amandala is the leading newspaper in the country, so clearly we're reading and learning. So share your thoughts.
It was the Easter edition of the Amandala.
Yes.
How to solve the Guatemalan dispute. That no legal thing, no court is going to solve this. We knew that long ago. How we knew that? George Price was there. Thank God for him, because he gave away a country. A lot of people want to hear about that George Price gave away independence because he was consistent and he made sure we not give up no blade of grass, no square inch or nothing. We know that the problem, we can't keep what we get. Because we not to blame ourselves, X was right. The one thing we started undermine because the Anglo-Americans have decided that we are not viable. We are not viable. So they, in their interests, have decided that we must be on satellite of Guatemala. Simple, straightforward. Now the big boys that don't run things, we allow them. Anyway, I said, look, follow where George Price started. He got Serrano to publicly declare Belize an independent country. How? By recognizing us diplomatically. You know how big that was? Now we had to give Serrano something. Because what he did got him in a lot of trouble. In fact, he got in so much trouble that the military overthrew him. Not for corruption or nothing, for Belize. He was overthrown because of Belize. But you never hear the bar and them talk about that. Then come with the ICJ. Well, I not there today, because then they set me up. And always where she say, no money, no law. So I bring that to me. I know why I your foolishness. The only way that we George Price say, through economic means, respect. And look, where Guatemala want? He want oil, where Belize got, and he want the port that commerce bite. Major Swazo know the value of commerce bite, We all know it, but how we play games that Belize, we don't want the public know. Commerce bite have something where the rest of the region don't have. You have one deep water port at 80 feet Natural. No dredging, no maintenance. Natural. Nobody else have it. You know what will happen if Commerce Bight link up to Puerto Quexal on the Pacific side? Where do the goods where we live pan come from? Whether Cuba, whether Belize, whether Guatemala, whether Jamaica, where we come from? It come from China, it come from Japan, it come from Asia, it come from the Pacific. Now how we get it? It come and it go through the Panama Canal and then it come to we. He either going to Jamaica or he going to Miami and then come to Belize. If he go to Jamaica, the Jamaicans get it. He go to Cuba, Cuba get it direct. But he go through the Panama. Now, if you link up Guatemala and Belize, man, you don't need no Panama Canal. The Panama Canal, one ship take 8 to 10 hours. One train will take 3 hours. Guatemala have to put one line 240 miles. Belize have to put 180 miles. That true economic integration. But, as what George said, over there for you, over here for we. We share it. Where we have to work out mutual neighbors, how we move it. We don't need no foreign investors. That's our problem. Sedi and Mr. Barrow asked me about this border thing, and I tell them about 4 years ago, make we plant coconut on the border, the western border. To hell with it, with Chuan as Jensen's line. Go to a border and plant coconut and come back 2 miles. Coconut when they find the border, and he may put Belizeans on the border. All they want to give you trouble there, young boy. Put them under the military. Make the BDF go there, go train them, and rehabilitate them. Educate them, because you must educate them. And you got to a coconut industry and bring in your foreign exchange. They do everything for you. But they don't want that, because certain big men, but one day when I get tired of them, I want to start calling you.
Why you get tired, they will?
Because you not take the punishment where I take.
That's true. Who feels it knows.
Oh, you don't know where I take for them. Then people don't want this. You know what said they tell me? Hey man, Bill man, you think we could get a we don't need no foreign investors, said they. We got the National Bank. Look, money is created by bankers, by human beings. For this railway, there is no choice. Only China you could go to like a high-speed rail in the world. The Americans and the Europeans, in fact, the Americans they buy from China now, big time. There is nowhere else to go. You have to go to the source, you understand? You must go to the source. You have to go to BRICS. We don't want to hear about BRICS because we want to be pro-American.
You know, I wanted to come out last week. Bill and BRICS.
But me not care what they say. I stand by BRICS because the BRICS are the future. I deal with the future. Me not deal with the past. America, look, I just gone to China. And there's a big difference between China and America. You know what it remind me? When I used to go to America in the 60s and 70s, before I lived there in the middle 60s, everywhere you say, hope, people happy. Everywhere building. You go to America, all you get are despair, drugs, all kind of thing, everything wrong. Bill what? Me just come from there. Man, please don't tell me about that. And I come from China, and you could see it in the people in the face. Man, please, man, read. One that the future, one that the past. I don't deal with the past, I deal with the future.
I don't know the way the people of China feel collectively. If all they had peace and contented with the life where they live.
Man, they have never been. You know what it is in the history of this world? For any country in less than 20 years move 700 million people out of poverty. 700 million. India say, give me 10 years and we are this prime minister, we won't do it. The Americans say, okay, this way. Well, you could say what you want, but you don't tell me what to do. We, sovereign, independent, we can do what we want, we know how to do it. They have done it.
Hey, Bill.
The World Bank say, boy, we have to give the Chinese man big respect because what they have done, nobody else in history of this earth has
something
done.
you want to share? Yes, Will?
Yes, no. I mean, no, they draw off of the bricks bill because the railway make a lot of sense, and I think that that's one of the things that we have to really take in seriously into consideration. Every time you hear about the land, the canal where they want to put down Nicaragua, they want for Panama, but we need to take this seriously into consideration. This canal, people think the man they talk crazy right now. I mean, this land canal actually from Commerce Bight to Puerto San Jose in Guatemala. That is something that we have to take seriously. At the same time, we have to get them to understand over there in Guatemala, over here at Belize. So we really have to push and build on that. But now, closer to the Stone and to the dates coming up at the end of the month for the 107th anniversary, I want the people to know, especially those in the diaspora, and the Americans, because the same American taxpayers' money that's being used to finance the Guatemala military is what's violating Belize's sovereignty and the human rights of Belizeans, right? And I think that should be pointed out. The same boat where the American government donates to Belize, that is same boat they donate to Guatemala. In fact, if they don't have the flags, you can't tell the difference in the boat. Exact same thing. And those things were bought and paid for with American taxpayers' money. We need to highlight that. We need to highlight that.
Respect. Bill said he has something to say that he should have said a long time ago. Make we hear it, Bill.
Last year before the general election, I approached on behalf of my family, I approached the unions of Belize through the Belize National Trade Union Congress with a proposal to establish a cement plant in Belize and to work with the unions so that they can own 30% of the new thing, and you know, cost them nothing because the money, we're going to borrow social security money, and since the money belongs to the workers should benefit from it. Other people come and borrow, but the worker don't get nothing out of it. So I say, give 30% to them, and where the 30% for their support. They had a meeting when the election come and everything gone here. But February this year, the unions met and they invited me to give a presentation. They said that after the Easter, they will get back to me. Fine, they don't get back yet. But they say it public so their members know. Now, 2 weeks after that meeting with the unions, a delegation from Guatemala got in touch with me. The people from Guatemala, the people were associated with the only and biggest cement plant there, Progreso. The Progreso they name will?
You say yes.
Yes, they got in touch with me. Make we work together. Set up a plant that Belize. They will help finance it. And they're willing to work with the unions. The Guatemalans have come to me. Nobody, why they say it publicly, understand what is happening in this country. Your trade control, Guatemala is the third largest trading partner for Belize right now. It's a one-way trade going to them. One of the biggest supermarket publics is owned by Guatemalan interests. Now your second largest sugar thing is owned by Guatemalan interests. Now they come to me, make we work together for a cement thing.
And the biggest hotel too, the biggest hotel, or one of the biggest hotels, at least definitely one of the biggest hotels.
Will is saying one of the biggest hotel is owned by Guatemalan interests as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. No, we have to understand what is happening. The Guatemalans are very active. Who control the cement market in Belize? The Mexicans and some Jamaicans and some French. The Guatemalans don't really have. So then they say, make we come together and work together. But people don't understand. And I try to tell the union, you know, better get on this bandwagon because you know, I want nothing in this phone. No, I decide because some big money in Belize, they against it. Horrible. Because they don't want nobody get nothing. They want to keep Belize just the way it is. And that way, they can manipulate you. So when people like Assad come, you listen. And when the money come behind, you take it. and you do exactly what they want and sell it out. Because at the end of the day, the big man and all the same, they don't got nowhere to go. They will own everything. And all they want a land. Land, L-A-N-D. We don't get a clue about land, how powerful land is.
Well, we're fast approaching close shop time. I want to ask you a final thoughts. I know that Bill said something about land. I just remember I seen one ad in the newspaper where I generally, first time I see it, but anyways, they have one ad in the newspaper about the Supreme Court of Belize. They have one lawsuit, I guess, with some Mennonites. But what get me is the first time I look, 0.7, they say, an order for possession of the said 3,850 acres. This is one group of people with about 3,850 acres. So when Bill talk about a land, and we say, I think they say 90-something% of Belizean land, I still find it hard to believe, owned by foreigners.
Yeah.
90-something%. I just find it hard to believe. You believe that, Will?
Yeah, I believe that, but again, the Belizean people need to get up and start to do something. This is our country, we have to work. Look for the amount of land. Big year gave out 1,000 parcels of land. Right? This is how many years now? This is about 5 or 6 years now. They gave out that land. And if you go to Big Year right now, it look almost the same way as it looked 7 years ago. 2 or 3 people they work there. So the Belizean people. And that's why when people talk about, oh, we need to populate the border and put Belizeans there, Belizeans they want to go along the my thing here, 47, we're part Big Year there. Belizeans they even want to go there. How they going to the border? So, I mean, we need to blame ourselves. Belizeans need to get out there. But again, the school system, we need to make agriculture sexy in this country because that's what sells. And we need people to be involved in agriculture. Right? Instead of the import, we're supposed to the export. But we have to get that from the schools. We have to begin. Every school should have an agricultural program. People should be signing up for agriculture. Right? I mean, if you want to hire an agronomist right now, you can't get an agronomist that's trained in the country of Belize when agriculture is supposed to be our biggest industry. The University of Belize, they have no agronomist training. And this is how we have to start. Otherwise, we will continue to sit back here and talk and watch foreigners own everything. Because we are not capitalizing on the opportunity out there that exists. We have to begin to do things. And we know to do that.
Well, you have any final thoughts?
My final thought is that Big Year people who own the land, they need to start to go down there for the weekends and spend their weekend there to develop that land. That's a start. Right? But my final thought now is about the border. Next week, Saturday, Belizeans, again, I appeal to you. This is very important. Every Belizean should know the 1859 treaty. 30th of April is a very important day. Every school in this country should be educating their children about the importance of our border treaty because it's what defines our borders. So, I appeal to Belizeans to join us, to move with us, and if you can't move with us, support somebody that is willing to move with us. Sponsor one of those seats on the bus to come to Barranco so that we could go to Sarstool. Sponsor one of those seats in the boat so that we could go to Sarstool. Because 30th of April, we are going to Sarstool.
Let me just share the Belize Bank PG branch number for the Belize Territorial Volunteers. It's 630-011-12460. If you'd like to donate or sponsor Belizeans to join us on April 30th, the Belize Bank PG branch account for Belize Territorial Volunteers, 630-011-12460. Will's number is 610-0978, 610-0978. Giovanni De La Fuente's number is 651-6104, 651-6104. My number is 671-8050, 671-8050. Bill, final thoughts?
I just want to tell the Belizean people be careful of those who come, those wolves who come in the clothing of sheep. The Belize-Guatemala dispute will never be settled by no court. No court can satisfy that. Belize needs economic development. A man who have nothing can settle nothing. Nobody respects him, nobody cares. You have to get into the manufacturing, you have to get into trade, but it can't be a one-way trade. The only way is through human creativity. No judge, no liar is going to settle nothing. You're wasting your time. You have to go to the United Nations Security Council. The problem is you have 5 permanent members. We said to our friends, one of them for over 100 years have been saying that from the Sibun to the Sarstone belongs to Guatemala. That is the historical record. The other one is your former colonial master. He's not your friend either. So what other choice you have? You have to go to the other 3. One of them, the French, will not support you because they will go where the Anglo-Americans go. So your only choice is go to where China and Russia. Please. And Russia is no communist atheist. Russia is the Orthodox Church, the other branch of what we call the Roman Catholic. They are more Christian than we are. No, Putin is more Christian than all the way. Don't listen to American propaganda, because it's a lot of propaganda. Take this Panama thing. You think this Panama thing na right so? Oh, a lot of things will fall with that. But it is a game being played by the 0.01% against the 1. Not against we, the 99. We don't lose everything. We don't got nothing. No, then look for tech. The one never got something. Because they don't mean for work. The 0.01 just mean feudalism. Then take it because they have the right and they decide for them. So then just take it. You have a lot of fallouts, but at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with no scandal and no corruption. Because nobody more corrupt than the big man. Nobody could be more corrupt than me. And you notice, you know, here no American name get called, not true? Oh, funny, right? They're not the biggest and richest, but then clean. Yeah, you could believe that. Anyway, you know, better wake up and understand. If you're not willing for fight and die for Belize, you're not going to lose it. And no court will save nothing. You have to stand up and make the Guatemalans know, hey, they're there for you, you're there for me. Behave yourself. And we'll fight for it. If they know you don't fight for it, they know I'm fooling you. But one bully always know where weak friends there.
True thing. Could not be more, Bill. We need to stand up for it.
No court, no shoe man. In a Cuban, send him back there.
Yes, you were saying, Will?
I'm saying I agree with Bill. We need to stand up and fight. We need to have brigades in every village along the border, from Garbat Falls down to the mouth of the Sarstone. And I tell you, I have villagers who are willing to stand up and fight. And that's what we need to do.
Thanks so much, Will. Thanks,
one last
Will.
thing.
Yes,
Will the big man. Big respect, Will. Because if they never say you, we no may know that we no want no Sarstone anymore. We may just put that wool over away.
I didn't mention in Audrey Matua Shepherd right to the point this week. She did a very good job chronicling from February 2015 when the 37 Belizeans were kidnapped to where we are today, and to really show the collective efforts of Belizeans, and also to unmask what this administration is saying as far as blaming BTV for the aggression based on that internal document that was leaked from the BDF to show that indeed that the Guatemalan military has been aggressing the Belize Defense Force soldiers prior to the BTV making it known that they were patrolling that area. And the government of Belize did not disclose that to Belizeans until the BTV consistent expedition to those areas and making Belizean people know what the reality is on the ground. So as individual Belizeans, we have a responsibility to inform ourselves, and also collectively to unify and make sure that we share and listen to each other. This show will repeat after Creme TV Evening News this evening, and tomorrow morning after WB Morning Vibes. We did not upload the Sunday review from last Sunday, but we will upload the Sunday review from last Sunday and today's Sunday review on our YouTube channel. Check on our Creme Sunday Review Facebook page for more information about that. Until next Sunday, have a beautiful day. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Bill. Thanks to all our listeners and viewers, those streaming online. Thank you for your support.
Open the doors for the people in poverty. Open the doors if you care for humanity. Open the doors, the people of society out there.